Brothers and sisters, let me tell you something. Sometimes the greatest battles are not fought in boardrooms, classrooms, or even out on the streets. The greatest battle is fought in the mirror, because it's not the world that stops us most of the time. It's the reflection we refuse to face. Self-reflection is not about guilt, it's about growth. It's not about shame, it's about shaping. It's about pausing long enough to ask, who am I becoming? What choices am I making? And is my tomorrow being built by wisdom or by habit? See, some of us are so busy running that we never stop to ask where we're running to. We've mastered the art of movement without direction. But when you dare to reflect, when you dare to stop, to look inward, you begin to discover that the most powerful transformation doesn't start with a new environment. It starts with a new awareness. Reflection is the surgery of the soul. It cuts away excuses. It opens up truth. It forces you to confront the very things you've been avoiding. And though it may sting, though it may bring tears to your eyes, it is the very process that heals you. If you want power, if you want clarity, if you want to step into your destiny, then you cannot skip this step. Because self-reflection builds wisdom, and wisdom builds strength. Strength builds a future that nothing and no one can take away. There comes a moment in every life when you realize that the fiercest fight you will ever face will not be with a competitor, will not be with your boss, will not be with a critic, and will not be with the people who misunderstood you. The fiercest fight you will ever face will be with the reflection staring back at you in the mirror. That reflection is not just your face, not just your eyes, just your body. It is the embodiment of your fears, your doubts, your mistakes, your potential, and your destiny, all wrapped into one. The mirror does not lie. The mirror holds up a truth that cannot be sugarcoated. And that is why the mirror is the battlefield. Too often we blame life's struggles on external forces. We say, if only they supported me, if only they believed in me. Only the circumstances were different. If only the doors opened for me, then I could be everything I was meant to be. But the truth is, more battles are lost in the mind than they ever are in the world. You can conquer nations, you can build empires, you can gain the applause of millions. If you cannot conquer the reflection in the mirror, you will always feel like a prisoner inside yourself. The mirror forces you to confront who you really are, not who you pretend to be. It asks questions you cannot escape. Are you living true to your values? I challenge you to love enough and care enough. Or are you just performing for approval? Are you moving toward purpose? Or are you running in circles? Are you carrying old wounds that are shaping your present? Or are you healing and evolving into your future? Every time you look into that glass, you are standing in a battlefield where excuses and truth collide, where fear and courage wrestle, where procrastination and discipline face off. That is why so many people avoid self-reflection. They stay busy. They keep scrolling. They drown themselves in noise. They surround themselves with endless activity because silence reveals what business can hide. In the stillness, when you are left alone with yourself, you cannot outrun your reflection. The mirror doesn't bend to your excuses. It doesn't flatter your ego. It doesn't play along with your image. It simply tells the truth, and the truth can be terrifying. But the truth, uncomfortable as it may be, is also the doorway to transformation. You cannot change what you will not confront. You cannot overcome what you refuse to acknowledge. Every victory starts with the courage to face the man or the woman in the mirror and say, yes, I see the flaws, but I also see the potential. Yes, I see the mistakes, but I also see the lessons. Yes, I see the pain. I also see the resilience that pain has built inside of me. And I refuse to walk away from this mirror without deciding to grow, to rise, to become better than I was yesterday. You see, the mirror is not your enemy. It is your greatest ally. It doesn't expose your weaknesses to shame you. It exposes them so you can strengthen them. It doesn't highlight your scars to humiliate you. It highlights them to remind you of the battles you've already survived. It doesn't show you your brokenness to break you again. It shows you your brokenness so you can heal. The battlefield of the mirror is where warriors are made, where destinies are clarified, where power is born. Think about it. Every breakthrough you've ever had started with an honest moment of self-reflection. The decision to stop settling, the choice to break a toxic habit, the courage to step into something new. the strength to let go of what was killing you. None of these happened because someone else demanded it. They happened because you looked at yourself and realized, I can't stay here any longer. I was made for more. I was built to rise higher. I was created to live stronger. But here's the challenge. Facing the mirror requires humility. Pride will keep you blind. Pride will tell you that you're fine, that you don't need to change, that the problem is everyone else. But humility will whisper, look closer. There's more to fix. There's more to build. There's more to grow. Humility bows in front of the mirror and says, teach me. And when you do that, you turn the mirror from a place of fear into a place of empowerment. The mirror is also a place of accountability. You can lie to others. You can put on a mask. You can fake a smile. But when you stare into your own eyes, deep into the reflection of your soul, you cannot hide. That accountability is not meant to condemn you. It's meant to free you. Because when you hold yourself accountable, no one else has the power to hold you hostage. When you deal with your own truth, criticism loses its sting. When you own your reflection, you own your power. Let me tell you something else. The mirror is not just about your past or your present. It is also a window into your future. When you look into it, you're not only seeing who you are, but who you could be. The reflection shows possibility. It whispers dreams. It paints visions of what your life could look like if you had the courage to discipline your habits, focus your energy, and trust your calling. Battlefield of the mirror is not just about fighting the old you. It is about birthing the new you. So don't run from it. Don't cover it up. Don't lower your eyes in shame. Stand tall, stare back. Face the reflection with honesty and determination. Say to yourself, I am not perfect. I am in progress. I am not flawless, but I am faithful. I am not everything I want to be. I refuse to stop growing until I become everything I was destined to be. That's the power of the battlefield in the mirror. It is not won in a single glance. It is won every day, every choice, every reflection, every decision to grow instead of settle, to rise instead of remain, to face truth instead of living in denial. It is won when you stop waiting for the world to change and start changing yourself. It is won when you stop fighting others and start mastering your own reflection. If you win in the mirror, you can win anywhere. But if you lose in the mirror, you will feel defeated everywhere. The mirror is the first battlefield, the last battlefield, and the most important battlefield. Conquer it. You conquer life. There comes a time in life when you realize that running fast doesn't matter if you're running the wrong way. Motion without meaning, speed without purpose, and activity without clarity can leave you exhausted but empty. And the truth is, many people are moving, but they are not advancing. They are busy, but they are not becoming. They are chasing, but they don't even know what they are chasing after. That is why reflection is not a luxury. Reflection is a necessity, because reflection reveals direction. When you pause long enough to reflect, you stop letting life push you blindly. You start leading your own path intentionally. Reflection forces you to ask the hard questions. Where am I going? Why am I doing this? Is the road I'm on leading to fulfillment, or is it simply leading me in circles? These are the questions that business hides, but silence reveals. See, reflection is like a compass for the soul. Without it, you may find yourself walking in the wilderness of life, moving day after day, never reaching the promised land of your destiny. You can build a career, stack money, gain recognition, yet still feel hollow inside because none of it aligns with your true calling. But when you dare to pause, when you dare to look inward and listen deeply, clarity begins to rise. Suddenly, what was blurry becomes sharp, what was confusing becomes simple, and what felt meaningless begins to make sense. Reflection reveals direction. Many people are afraid of reflection because it exposes truth. It shows you whether your energy is aligned with your vision or wasted on distractions. It makes you confront whether your decisions are guided by wisdom or by impulse. It shines a light on whether you are climbing a mountain that will fulfill you or one that will leave you empty at the top. But let me tell you something. It is far better to face that truth now than to spend your entire life chasing something that was never meant for you. Reflection doesn't slow you down, saves you from going down the wrong path. What good is it to run with passion if you are running in the wrong direction? What good is it to hustle day and night if your hustle is building someone else's dream while your own is dying inside of you? Reflection recalibrates you. It makes you stop, look, and listen, not to the noise outside, but to the voice within. And that inner voice, that quiet whisper of wisdom, can save you from years of wasted time. Think of a ship out on the ocean. If the captain never checks the compass, if he never pauses to reflect on his course, even a slight error can take him hundreds of miles off track. Life is the same way. A small compromise here, a little distraction there, and before you know it, you're far from where you were meant to be. Reflection is the practice of checking your compass. It's the discipline of asking, am I still aligned with my purpose? Am I still headed where I said I wanted to go? Have I drifted into waters that don't belong to me? Some people resist reflection because it feels like stopping. Stopping is not the same as quitting. Pausing is not the same as losing. Sometimes the greatest progress you can make is by stepping back, reevaluating, and then moving forward with renewed clarity. You don't lose time when you reflect, you save time. You don't weaken yourself when you reflect, you strengthen your resolve. You don't waste energy when you reflect, you direct energy to where it matters most. Reflection also reveals not only direction, but intention. Pause to examine your choices. You begin to see the why behind the what. Why am I working so hard? Why am I pursuing this relationship? Why am I investing my time here? If your why is shallow, your journey will be shaky. But when your why is strong, your direction will be sure. Reflection helps you separate what matters from what doesn't, what is eternal from what is temporary, what builds you from what drains you. Sometimes reflection will hurt because it will show you areas where you've been wrong, where you've wasted time, where you've given yourself away to people and places that didn't deserve you. But that pain is not punishment. It is preparation. It is preparing you to shift, to adjust, to redirect your energy towards something greater. Reflection is not about regret. It is about realignment. It is not about shaming yourself for where you've been. It is about sharpening yourself for where you're going. And let me tell you, direction matters more than speed. A slow walker on the right path will arrive at their destination before a sprinter running in the wrong direction. Reflection ensures that your speed is not wasted. It ensures that your energy is not scattered. It ensures that your life is not lived for the applause of others, but for the fulfillment of your own calling. Reflection also creates resilience, because when you know your direction, you can endure your detours. When you are clear about your destination, you won't be shaken by delays. Challenge you to love when you've reflected and found your why. The storms won't stop you, the setbacks won't scare you, and the critics won't silence you. Clarity gives courage, purpose gives persistence, direction gives discipline. And reflection is the doorway to all of them. When was the last time you stopped long enough to reflect? When was the last time you checked your compass? When was the last time you looked in the mirror, not to fix your appearance, but to examine your heart? Because every moment you take to reflect is a moment that sets the course of your future. Reflection reveals whether you are living by default or living by design. It shows you whether you are reacting to life or creating life. It separates the urgent from the important, the temporary from the eternal, the noise from the signal. It whispers to you, this is the way. Walk in it. Don't fear the stillness. Don't run from the silence. Don't drown out the questions with endless activity. Lean into reflection, because reflection will reveal your direction. And once you see it, once you know where you are meant to go, then run, then fight, then build, then live with everything you've got. Because now your life is not just moving, it is moving with meaning. There is a mystery about life that many people never unlock. They chase change, they hunger for growth, they long for transformation, but they seek it outside of themselves. They believe if they can just move to a new city, find a new job, connect with new people, get new opportunities, then somehow life will suddenly shift. But the deepest transformation does not begin outside. It begins inside. It begins in the quiet moments when you dare to stop, look inward, and reflect. Because reflection brings transformation. Reflection is the mirror of the soul. It is the moment when you step back from the rush of life to examine who you are, where you have been, and where you are going. It is not always comfortable. In fact, sometimes reflection will bring tears to your eyes. Sometimes it will stir regret in your heart. Sometimes it will awaken pain you tried to bury. Do not mistake discomfort for destruction. Reflection is not there to tear you down. It is there to build you up. Reflection reveals truth, and truth is the seed of transformation. Transformation is impossible without awareness. You cannot change what you refuse to see. You cannot heal what you will not acknowledge. You cannot outgrow patterns you will not confront. And that is why reflection is so powerful. It is the flashlight in the dark corners of your life. It shines on the habits, the attitudes, the choices, the beliefs that are either carrying you forward or holding you back. Reflection exposes them not to shame you, but to empower you to change them. Think about it. Every breakthrough you've ever had in life started with a moment of realization. You realized the relationship was toxic. You realized the job was draining your purpose. You realized the habit was stealing your joy. You realized your excuses were building walls around your future. That realization, that reflection, was the spark that ignited change. Without it, you might still be stuck in the same cycles, repeating the same mistakes, settling for the same disappointments. But reflection interrupted the cycle. Reflection revealed the truth, and reflection opened the door to transformation. Transformation is not magic, it is a process, and the process begins with reflection. When you reflect, you gain the power to choose differently. You are no longer blind, you are no longer trapped in the shadows of denial. You see clearly, and clarity gives you strength. The transformation begins the moment you say, I see it now, and I refuse to stay the same. Reflection also gives you perspective. Life has a way of blurring your vision. Disappointments can cloud your hope. Success can blind your humility. Business can dull your awareness. When you pause to reflect, you regain perspective. You remember who you are. You remember what matters. You remember what you are capable of. That perspective transforms not just your mind, but your choices, your habits, and your entire direction in life. Transformation is not about becoming someone else. It's about becoming your best self. Reflection helps you peel back the layers of pretense, the masks you wear, the roles you play, until you come face to face with your authentic self. And when you meet that self, you discover strength you didn't know you had, resilience you didn't know you carried, and potential you didn't know was waiting inside of you. That is the gift of reflection. It transforms your perspective of yourself. But reflection also transforms your perspective of others. When you pause to examine your own flaws, you become more compassionate toward the flaws of others. When you reflect on your own struggles, you develop patience for the struggles of others. When you acknowledge your own mistakes, you become slower to judge the mistakes of others. Reflection doesn't just change you, it changes the way you see and treat the people around you. And when your relationships are transformed, your life as a whole is elevated. Some people fear reflection because it forces them to relive pain. They think if they avoid looking back, they can avoid the weight of what happened. But let me tell you, reflection is not about reliving, it is about redeeming. Reflection takes the pain of your past and turns it into wisdom for your future. It transforms your wounds into lessons, your failures into stepping stones, your scars into reminders of survival. Reflection doesn't chain you to yesterday, it frees you for tomorrow. There is a scripture, like rhythm woven into life itself, seasons of action must be followed by seasons of reflection. A farmer does not only plant, he pauses to examine the soil. An artist does not only paint, she steps back to look at the canvas. An athlete does not only train, he reviews the game footage to see what can improve. Why should your life be any different? Without reflection, your effort may be wasted. But with reflection, your effort becomes intentional, your growth becomes measurable, and your transformation becomes undeniable. Transformation is not loud at first. It does not always announce itself with fanfare. It often begins quietly in the stillness of reflection. It starts when you decide, cannot continue the way I have been. It deepens when you commit, I will change, even if the change costs me comfort. And it shows itself when you look back months or years later and realize you are not the same person anymore. Reflection is the catalyst. Transformation is the result. But here's the truth. Reflection without action is wasted potential. You cannot just see and not shift. You cannot just realize and not respond. Reflection brings transformation only when you decide to act on what you've seen. That is the moment when the internal clarity becomes external change. That is when growth moves from concept to reality, is when transformation stops being a dream and starts becoming your lifestyle. And make no mistake, transformation is not always easy. It requires courage to face yourself honestly. It requires discipline to change patterns you've carried for years. It requires patience to endure the discomfort of growth. But every ounce of effort is worth it, because the person you are becoming is stronger than the person you are leaving behind. The life you are building is greater than the life you are outgrowing. The destiny ahead of you is brighter than the darkness you have walked through. Reflection is the bridge that carries you into that transformation. Without it, you wander aimlessly. With it, you walk purposefully. Without it, you repeat the same cycles. With it, you break free and rise higher. Without it, you live in denial. With it, you step into destiny. So I challenge you, make time for reflection. Do not fear the silence. Do not drown out the questions with noise. Do not run from the truth of who you are, because every time you reflect, you are taking one step closer to transformation. And every step you take makes you stronger, wiser, freer, and more prepared for the life you were meant to live. Reflection is not just looking back, it is moving forward. Reflection is not just remembering, it is reimagining. Reflection is not just seeing, it is becoming. And when you embrace reflection, you embrace the very power that brings transformation. There are moments in life when you realize that the deepest healing you need cannot come from the outside. No medicine, no applause, no achievement, no relationship can reach that far inside, because the wounds you carry are not always visible. They are not always physical. They are not always something you can point to on a map of your body. They live in your soul. They hide in your thoughts, in your memories, in your beliefs about yourself. And the only way those wounds are addressed is through the painful but necessary process of reflection. Reflection is soul surgery. Surgery is never comfortable. It is invasive. It cuts into what has been covered. It exposes what has been hidden. It opens what has been closed. In the same way, reflection does not let you stay shallow. It does not allow you to keep hiding behind masks or running from truth. It cuts through your excuses. It lays bare your motives. It opens up your hidden fears, your secret struggles, your buried disappointments. Though it may hurt, though it may sting, it is the very thing that begins to heal you. See, the soul does not heal by ignoring wounds. Just like a physical injury will fester if untreated, the wounds of your heart and mind will grow worse if you never deal with them. Bitterness will spread. Resentment will poison. Fear will paralyze. Insecurity will whisper lies until you believe them. Reflection is the scalpel that cuts into those places, not to destroy you, but to deliver you. Reflection is the moment when you decide, I will not live numb anymore. I will not carry this infection of the soul any longer. I will open it up, face it honestly, allow it to heal. But make no mistake, soul surgery is not quick. It is not easy. And it is not painless. Just as a surgeon must cut to remove what does not belong, reflection cuts into your self-image to remove false beliefs. It cuts into your habits to expose patterns that are toxic. It cuts into your memories to reveal what you have been carrying far too long. And in that moment, it may feel unbearable. But every cut is purposeful. Every exposure is intentional. Every painful moment is a step toward healing, not away from it. Reflection is soul surgery because it demands honesty. You cannot heal from what you will not admit. You cannot release what you will not acknowledge. You cannot grow past what you pretend does not exist. Reflection places you in front of yourself with no anesthetic, no filters, no excuses. It forces you to see the truth of who you are and what you've been carrying. And though that truth may cut deep, it is also what sets you free. Consider this: when a surgeon operates, the goal is not to hurt, but to heal. The cutting is controlled, precise, purposeful. Reflection works the same way. It does not destroy, it reconstructs. It does not weaken, it strengthens. It does not leave you broken, it leaves you whole. But in order to reach wholeness, you must be willing to face the process. You must be willing to sit in silence, to ask hard questions, to let the tears come, to feel the weight of what you have been avoiding. That is how reflection works its way into the deep places of the soul. And the deeper it goes, the greater the transformation. Reflection allows you to cut away bitterness that has taken root in your heart. It allows you to remove lies you believed about yourself, that you are not enough, that you are unworthy, that you are defined by your failures. It allows you to extract shame, guilt, fear, and insecurity. It allows you to stitch up places where you've been bleeding emotionally for years. It allows you to disinfect old wounds so that they can finally close, not with scar tissue that hardens you, but with strength that refines you. Reflection is not only about removing what harms, it is also about repairing what matters. Just as a surgeon does not only cut, but also restores, reflection restores your perspective, your vision, your hope. It rebuilds your confidence. It strengthens your resolve. It gives you back the ability to dream again, to trust again, to live fully again. Reflection repairs your alignment with purpose, reminding you of who you are and what you were created for. Most people avoid soul surgery because it hurts to admit you've been wrong. Hurts to face the mistakes you made. It hurts to see the truth about toxic relationships you stayed in too long. It hurts to admit that your own choices have sometimes sabotaged your own destiny. And so people stay busy. They drown themselves in noise. They numb themselves with distractions. They cover wounds instead of curing them. But what is covered cannot heal. And what is hidden cannot transform. That is why reflection is not optional. It is essential. Think about it this way. If your body was in pain, you wouldn't ignore it forever. If infection spread, you would seek treatment. You would endure the surgery if it meant saving your life. Why should your soul be any different? Reflection is the treatment. Reflection is the surgery. Reflection is the willingness to say, this may hurt, but it will heal me. This may cut me, but it will free me. This may expose me, but it will transform me. And here's the beauty of it. Soul surgery doesn't leave you weaker, it leaves you stronger. Scars don't mean you lost, they mean you survived. Healing doesn't mean you forget, it means you rise. Every time you go through the painful process of reflection, you come out with more wisdom, more strength, more clarity, more resilience than you had before. Reflection is soul surgery because it is both painful and powerful, both cutting and curing, both exposing and empowering. It does not leave you the same. You cannot walk away from honest reflection unchanged, and that is the miracle of it. You walk into reflection carrying weight, and you walk out lighter. You walk in broken, and you walk out mended. You walk in blind, and you walk out seeing. So I say, do not run from the surgery of reflection. Do not fear the scalpel of truth. Do not avoid the discomfort of honesty, because in that very place where the cuts are made, where the pain is felt, where the truth is faced is the birthplace of your healing, your growth, your transformation. Reflection is not your enemy, it is your remedy. Reflection is not here to destroy you, it is here to save you. Reflection is soul surgery, and if you let it do its work, it will cut away what is killing you. It will leave you whole, healed, and ready to live the life you were created to live. Destiny is not something that just happens. Destiny is not an accident, not a coincidence, not something that stumbles into your lap by chance. Destiny is designed, it is built, it is shaped. And the raw material that fuels destiny is not found in someone else's approval, not in the applause of the crowd, not in the opportunities handed to you. The fuel of destiny is found in reflection, because reflection fuels destiny. You see, the choices that shape your future do not come from blind guessing. Come from conscious awareness. And conscious awareness comes through reflection. Without reflection, you can spend your whole life running in circles, chasing shadows, living for applause, but never walking in purpose. Without reflection, you mistake business for progress. You confuse activity with advancement. You gain speed but lose direction. And in the end, you arrive at places you were never meant to be. But when you reflect, when you pause and look inward, when you examine your heart, your motives, your vision, suddenly clarity rises, and clarity is what fuels destiny. Reflection asks the hard questions. Am I where I'm supposed to be? Am I aligned with who I was created to become? Am I giving my time to what matters most, or am I wasting it on distractions? Am I chasing what feeds my ego or what fulfills my purpose? Without those questions, life drifts. But when you dare to ask them honestly, reflection sets your feet on the right path. Reflection reveals what needs to change, what needs to be released, what needs to be pursued. Every adjustment you make fuels your destiny. Think about it. Every great breakthrough begins with reflection. Before leaders lead, they reflect. Before visionaries build, they reflect. Before dreamers step forward, they reflect. They look at what has been, they consider what is, and they discern what could be. Reflection is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is the pause before progress. It is the silence before sound. It is the fuel before the fire. Destiny requires more than desire. Desire alone will not carry you. You can want greatness, you can crave success, you can hunger for fulfillment, but without reflection, your desire burns out. Reflection fuels the fire of desire with direction, takes the passion inside of you and gives it a path to walk. That path becomes the highway to destiny. Without reflection, your dreams stay dreams. Reflection, your dreams gain wings. Reflection also fuels destiny by freeing you from the weight of the past. You cannot step into the future while dragging chains behind you. Reflection helps you stop and examine what you've been carrying. It makes you ask, is this memory helping me or hurting me? Is this relationship pushing me forward or pulling me backward? Is this belief building me or breaking me? Reflection cuts off the dead weight, the toxic baggage, the unnecessary loads that slow you down. When you are lighter, when you are freer, when you are unchained, you can run toward destiny with power and speed. Destiny is not just about reaching a destination. It is about becoming the person who is prepared for that destination. Reflection is the training ground. It builds maturity. It strengthens character. It humbles pride. It sharpens focus. Without reflection, you may reach the place you dreamed of, but you won't have the strength to sustain it. Reflection fuels not only the journey, but the endurance to remain when you arrive. Reflection is like a map. Imagine setting out on a long journey with no map, no compass, no GPS. You would get lost. You would waste energy. You would wander in circles. When you reflect, you are constantly checking your map. You are making sure you are aligned with your purpose. You are adjusting when you drift. You are steering yourself back on track when life's detours tempt you. Reflection keeps you connected to the coordinates of your destiny. Some people say, I don't have time to reflect. I'm too busy trying to build my future. But let me tell you, without reflection, you may build the wrong future. You may climb a ladder only to find it leaning against the wrong wall. You may gain the world, but lose your soul. Reflection doesn't waste your time, saves your time. It keeps you from wasting years in wrong places with wrong people doing the wrong things. Reflection is the discipline that makes sure your destiny is not delayed or derailed. And yes, reflection requires courage. It requires the courage to admit mistakes, the courage to confront flaws, the courage to acknowledge where you've been wrong. But that courage is the fire that fuels transformation. And transformation is the foundation of destiny. Because you cannot walk into a new future with the same old patterns. You cannot claim a new level with the same old mindset. Cannot embrace your destiny while clinging to your history. Reflection forces you to release, to change, to grow. And that growth fuels destiny. When you reflect, you begin to see that destiny is not only about what you do, but about who you are becoming. Reflection reveals whether your inner life matches your outer life, whether your character matches your calling, whether your soul is aligned with your success. It brings integrity, wholeness, authenticity. And when your inner life is strong, your outer life will follow. That is the secret of destiny. It is fueled not from the outside in, but from the inside out. Reflection fuels destiny because it builds resilience. When you reflect on past challenges, you realize you survived what you thought would break you. When you reflect on past victories, You gain confidence that you can win again. Reflection turns history into fuel. It takes what you've been through and turns it into strength for what's ahead. Reminds you that the same perseverance that carried you before will carry you again. Reflection is the reminder that fuels faith, and faith fuels destiny. So I challenge you, don't just run through life. Don't just chase dreams without direction. Don't just live on autopilot. Make time for reflection. Pause. Be still. Listen. Examine your heart, your choices, your patterns, your vision. Because every moment of reflection adds fuel to the fire of your destiny. Every moment of reflection sharpens your steps, strengthens your resolve, and sets you closer to the life you were created to live. Reflection fuels destiny. You drift. With it, you drive. Without it, you guess. With it, you grow. Without it, you wander. With it, you win. Your destiny is waiting, but it is fueled by reflection.